Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your Commish with another Gatorade Fantasy Football Podcast update. Are y'all ready? All right, let's go get it. Ooh, it's Halloween, everybody. Happy Hallowed Eve. On this Hallowed Eve, there can only be one. We went from 3 one-loss teams to only one. Luckily, no serious injuries this week. Just a few re-aggravation, and all of them seem to be of the shoulder variety. Too spooky for me. Very spooky. And in this Halloween edition of the Gatorade podcast, well, nothing special. It's just a regular podcast done the day before Halloween. I have work and a kid to take trick-or-treating, so I don't have time to spruce this up for you homos. As usual this week, we have injury news, game reviews, trade reviews, and power rankings. Alrighty, let's get into it. First up, as usual, injury news. As I said earlier, we have a lot of shoulder injuries. First, for the quarterbacks, Andrew Luck, still feeling pain in his shoulder after they did the surgery. Thinking about throwing him into the IR. Jameis Winston re-aggravated his right AC joint shoulder sprain. For running backs, Devontae Freeman had a shoulder injury. DeMarco Murray, shoulder bruise from last 2 weeks ago, I guess. Still on the injury report. Wide receivers, Pierre Garçon with a neck injury near the shoulder. Emmanuel Sanders, ankle still questionable, didn't play tonight. But, we'll see what happens next week. Hogan, 2 front teeth, he lost them, but he played fine. But then shoulder dislocation. For Jordan Reed, as usual, he has a hamstring injury. And we have the worst injury of the week. Zach Miller dislocated his knee. He's going on the IR for sure. They're saying it's probably career-threatening, but not only that, life-threatening, because I guess something with the dislocation probably fucked with a vein or something vascular, and it's messing with his blood flow. He had to go into surgery that night. So thoughts and prayers to him and his family. Hopefully, everything's fine. I know they were trying to save the leg and everything, so good luck, Zach. And also, not really so much an injury, but news. Ezekiel Elliott is once again suspended. I do not know what's going to happen with him. He has about 24 hours, so I guess middle or end of Tuesday, when you guys are listening to this, there should be an update, because that's when they can file an appeal with the lower court, Southern Court District of New York or some shit. But as of right now, he is suspended and he won't be back till December 17th. And yep, that's all I got for injuries. Let's move on to the game reviews. And on the first game of the docket, we have Motorboating Sons of Bitches at slight work with a score of 114.1 to 100.8. Ugh. This was a close one at first. Fred was down by a decent amount, around 80 to 50, before DeAndre Hopkins scored on a 70-yard touchdown. He totaled 37 points, and it's probably time, to consider that offense for real. Enough weeks have passed to know that Deshaun Watson is the real thing, and that Fuller and Hopkins are, must starts until they prove they're not, because they're just scoring touchdowns. Yeah. During his comeback, or Fred's comeback, Kirk Cousins threw a touchdown pass late in the game, to help him, but it was to Josh Doctson, who Manny had in his flex, so he lost, negated each other there. And then Kirk Cousins threw a pick. It was very nerve-wracking. Get the close score. It kept the games close. Blah. Can't talk. Going fast. Jordan Howard had a decent game, while AJ Green had a disappointing one, considering he was playing the Colts. And also, fuck you, Harrison Butker. I hate you so much. And look, Manny scored 100 points again, and it was in another loss. Not too bad considering everyone else was on bye. His entire bench was on bye. LaShawn McCoy had back-to-back 20-point games, second of the season. And, luckily Gronkowski bounced back from an un-Gronkian 6.6 points last week. Unfortunately, Antonio Brown, Doug Martin, and the Steelers' defense disappointed. The biggest thing was actually that Steeler Lions game that really hurt Manny. But what can you do? Fantasy football sucks a big weenie. In the second game we have going on, Vitamin D at Pocket Dog with a score of 129.4 to 80.6. What a nice game by Mikhail. He has become the lone one-loss team this season with a convincing win over Jordan. Melvin Gordon had 23 points, and the newly acquired pair of Jeffrey and Ingram also had nice games with 18 and 15 respectively. But the big news for Mikhail was Russell Wilson. Scored about 40 points or some shit? Close, 37. But the Seahawks had 479 yards of offense. 479. You want to know how many Russell Wilson had? 476. He had 476 yards of 479 yards. That is ridiculous. The other 3 yards split between Eddie Lacy, Thomas Rawls, and J.D. McKissick or some shit. That's ridiculous. It's also his second 4-touchdown game of the season. So, good for Mikhail. For Jordan, he loses big here. It seems he's either scoring big at either 110 or higher, or scoring small around 70, 80 points. He's done the 110 plus 5 times, and he's done the 70 around 3 times. So big or small, big or small. Not a lot of consistency there. He had Gurley on his bye week, which probably hurt him the most, and he relied on Hyde against a good defense and a gadget back in Chris Thompson. Thompson can continue to impress, but Hyde fell flat. Jimmy Graham actually benefited from Wilson's big game and led his team in scoring with 17 points, but it was negated by his defense, the Texans, scoring -8 points because they were guarding Deshaun Watson. Jordan drops to 6-2, and Mikhail moves up to 7-1. Even though Jordan takes this loss, I still consider him one of the tougher teams in the league, and we'll see what happens the rest of the year. Let's move on to the third game. In the third game of the week, we have Tasha Rain at ACLs and Fibulas with a score of 95.9 to 89.9. Corey is not done yet. This game was decided on Sunday Night Football with Maddie Snapback scoring just enough to get Corey over the hump. Because I don't know what happened, but Sunday night, Reggie actually had 92.1. But I guess during Monday Night Football, some stat corrections kicked in because it brought him down to 89.9. I don't really see where or who dropped down to cause the stat correction, but it must have been something that I wasn't looking or paying attention to. But as for Corey, he's had another big surprising game from Jerick McKinnon. This guy was always known as a spark athlete and a freak of nature, and he's been given multiple chances to succeed, and he was honestly probably on his last chance to be a feature back, but he has shown up with his third big game of the season. Corey also had decent games from most everyone else. He had 6 players scoring between 7.7 to 10 points. That's pretty good. Nice. Reggie loses a close one here to Corey, like I said earlier. This was mainly off the back of a surprisingly bad showing from Dak Prescott. Who would have thought that the Washington defense would hold him to 6.6 points? And it was mainly game script because they could run on him so much, but I still expect someone of Dak's caliber to score at least 10, 12 points, And Reg also had 5 players with over 10 points, but no one over 15.5, led by Alvin Kamara. And that's it for that game. Let's move on to the fourth game. In our fourth game of the week, we have Barking Guns at Fried Spam and Eggs with a score of 74.8 to 90.9. And I actually didn't say this earlier, and I meant to, but Trey, I said it in the Facebook page, Trey decided to take the rest of the season off from fantasy football, and it doesn't mean he can't keep it close. The game was actually close until Monday Night Football. He had Macklin give his best game since week 2, posting 12.8 points. It's not too bad, except it was more than Cam Newton, who had 12.4. That's not good. Zach Ertz continues his dominance at the tight end position with an 11-point game, keeping him atop of the rankings. I actually have to look because Travis Kelce's score this week might have put him over top. Let me double check, and never mind. Kelce is not close. He's still about a game behind Ertz and Gronk. But like I said, Angel actually has a next season to look forward to, but he isn't done yet. Adds a nice win to his win-loss record, I guess. But Drew Brees has another bad game and is maybe starting to show his age. Then again, it was against a Chicago pass defense that has been pretty good all season long. It is his second best showing of the season. Not Drew Brees, it's actually his second worst, but this is Angel's second best showing of the season. And luckily for him, it doesn't hurt his chance for the number one pick, as the bottom 6 teams have an even chance at first pick. And as some of you guys may already know, Trey's taking the rest of the season off. His team will be locked. So please try not to send any trades. I've temporarily taken control over the team to make sure that he doesn't have to worry about anything being done or anything like that. We will continue to. He won't be making any transactions, but playing his best players, I guess, or whoever's not on bye, and just making sure he has active players. Whoever's on his active roster as of now will be the ones played. And yeah, that's all I have to say on that. If you have any questions, you can come talk to me mano y mano. But for now, let's just move on to the next game. For our 5th game, we probably have the most important game of the week. I know Mikhail and Jordan was pretty important, but this game is more important. This was Team Darkness at Fail Mary with a score of 115.3 to 97. Let me hold on. Yes, 97.3. Sorry, it wasn't updated on my little doc right here. And this is 2 in a row for TJ. Wentz had another good game, and this is despite the bad weather and the loss of Jason Peters. So hopefully he can keep it up. He was led by his Texans, Lamar Miller and Will Fuller. Fuller has 7 touchdowns and 13 catches. There's no way he can keep this up, right? And he has 7 touchdowns in the past 4 games, 5 games, 4 games, and 5 games, I think. And Lamar, nope, not Lamar. DeAndre Hopkins has 6 touchdowns, so 13 touchdowns by Deshaun Watson to those guys. I think he has 19 in his first 5 games. And rookie record for touchdowns in a season was held by Peyton Manning, which is 26. So he's probably going to destroy that record. Deshaun Watson is the truth. He's really leading his team. I'd keep running him. I keep running Miller. I keep running Fuller. No reason to stop. And really, for TJ, his MVP is probably Matt Prater, because he put the nail in the coffin on Sunday Night Football. Josh was sweating with every kick he made. I witnessed it. It was fun to see, fun to watch. Thank you, TJ, for that. And, Josh, how the mighty have fallen. Not only did you lose to TJ in fantasy football, but you lost the bet to me, bitch. Hunt did not score 15 points. He barely got a little more than half of that. I expect my $20 in crisp $1 bills, because Daddy likes it. Daddy likes it crisp. All right. Luckily for you, the Ravens scored 32 points. It was another big defensive game. It's their 3rd of 20 plus. That's pretty good for them. Unfortunately for you, Jordan Reed got hurt again. That guy is fucking made of baby poop. This guy does. Did you guys see the injury? He was running, made a cut. He's running up the side, up the middle, makes a cut. Just my hamstring. Oh, my hamstring. That dude is fucking weak. Anyways, now that I got that out of my system, let's move on to the last game of the week. And in our last game, we have Evil Doc at Hard Knocks with a score of 74.6 to 130.2. Frank loses again. I mean, he can't blame anyone else but himself. He started the groinless Dan Bailey. Luckily for him, Isaiah Correll finally showed up. Yay! He finally played the way people have needed him to. It only took him 8 weeks and to do it in another country. If you look at Frank's bench, he actually left 58.4 points between 3 players on his bench. That's pretty nice, with Jack Doyle, Travis Benjamin, and Jamison Crowder. And if he actually played them over the 12.5 points scored by Hilton, Watson, and Curse, he still would have lost by 10. Sorry, Frank. That wasn't funny, but it was. Josh here, White Josh, he tops out the scores of this week by less than 1 point, 0.8 over Mikhail. He had big games from the Eagles defense, Travis Kelce, Adam Thielen, and Ezekiel Elliott. He had a huge game by Deshaun Watson. but it was on his bench. Luckily he didn't need him. He scored 40 points. It's probably time for him to move him or Brady. There's no point. You're just losing points by keeping him on the bench. Maybe after Brady has his bye week, trade one of them. I don't know who you're going to get, but it'd be best for the rest of your season outlook, especially with Zeke gone. And like I said, as you may know, Zeke is suspended again. He has 24 hours to file an appeal, but even if he does, it might just push his suspension into the playoffs, which hurts Josh even more. Time to start planning a season without Zeke. And everybody, that does it for the game reviews here. We have a couple of trades to just go over real quick. Let's get into it. First trade that I have on the docket is Mikhail trading Josh Doxson to Manny for Sterling Shepard. This is a trade of potential number one wide receiver targets, wide receiver targets to their respective teams. It's another small trade between these two teams. Manny needed a flex, and Mikhail was actually interested in Shepard during the free agent market, but didn't put enough into him. And he could be potentially a PPR monster like he was in week 3 for when he scored 7, when he pulled in 7 receptions for 133 yards and a touchdown. Shepard ended up not playing this week, still on the bum ankle, while Doxson actually scored on a 1-yard touchdown. Both these guys are mainly wait and sees, while Doxson's actually playing right now. I believe Shepard is he would be looked to make a more immediate and meaningful impact than Doxson. Josh Doxson. I gotta learn how to say his name right if he's on my team. My bad. And for the second trade that we have this week, we have Mikhail trading Stephon Diggs, Austin Seferian-Jenkins, and C.J. Anderson to Fred for Mark Ingram and Alshon Jeffrey. This is actually one of the bigger trades of the season. Fred gets his tight end help with ASJ, and he gets decent replacements for Ingram and Alshon. I think Ingram and Alshon are better than CJA and Diggs right now. Diggs could be a better keeper pick over Alshon, but that will mainly depend on his health, just like Alshon's, and his QB, whether it's Sam Bradford, Case Keenum, or Teddy Bridgewater. Don't know what's going on with that yet. As for CJA, he's a very capable but often injured back playing on a bad team. When they are ahead, the Broncos, he does put up numbers, so that's good for him. And it's probably something that they hope to be doing sooner rather than later. As for Mark Ingram, he's been playing out of his mind since the trade of Adrian Peterson. He continued that trend this week, and Alshon actually showed up, despite it was on like one big play. 18 points is 18 points. You'll take it. I actually really like this trade for both teams a lot. Both got needed players, and it's truly a win-win. Alshon is better now, but I think Diggs, just skill-wise, is better for future, which Mikhail needed. Both teams actually, or Mikhail needed the better running back for his 3 pool, and Fred needed a better receiver for his 3 pool. So both guys got that. Good for you guys. That does it for the trades this week. There were a couple other trades made with Trey, but both trades were rescinded and reversed, and everything is as it was. Alright guys, let's move on to the power rankings. In that number 1 spot, we once again have TJ. As long as the wind keeps rolling, keep on rolling, TJ will stay on top. Will Fuller is beasting it, and TJ will ride that man into the sunset, pulling on his dreads whenever he wants him to giddy up like a goddamn Texan. Yeah. In the second place of our power rankings, we have Mikhail, the lone 7-1 team. Yep, there can only be one, and he is the lone one. Taking the top spot in his division and in the league, he is only seated the top spot in the power rankings to the red hot TJ. Mikhail had questions about his strengths earlier in the season, but a couple of trades put him over the top, so good for him. I feel like he's going to continue getting better, especially with Devontae Freeman and Melvin Gordon. Really strong pair of running backs, and the addition of Mark Ingram only strengthens that running back core. In third place, we have Jordan, who's 6-2. He's dropped down one more spot, but it's to make way for the person to bring him down, Mikhail. Jordan is still second in the league in scoring, I believe at 874, but both Reggie and White Josh, are catching up. They're both around 855. As of recording this podcast, ESPN has not updated their standings page, so everyone's score is that I'm doing in my head, quickly done on the calculator, and haven't really written them down, so I'm just going off of what I think I saw. Alright, moving on. Fourth place in the power rankings, we have Reggie at 5-3. Despite the loss this week, he stays one of the stronger teams this year. He could easily be 7-1, 6-2. He's a third or fourth scoring in the league. But either him or Josh, they're both around 854, 855. Luckily no serious injuries occurred this week for Reg. So that's something for him to look forward to. I still fear his team in the playoffs. Julio Jones is always down to drop 40 points when you least expect it. So you never know what could happen with that squad. Yeah, let's move on to the next team. We have Fred in 5th place. He is also 5-3. I have him right below Reggie. I think he is probably a little bit top heavier with AJ Green and DeAndre Hopkins. He has good running backs. Jordan Howard's nice. I think Reggie has a more spread out talent, I guess. He has a deeper bench. I believe Fred has a lot of backups on his bench that need injuries to starters for them to actually start, while Reggie actually has other starters in his bench. So that's one of the differences between these guys. But that's what puts Reggie at number 4 and Fred at 5. He had a big win over one of the stronger teams in the league. I hate you. And right now he's solidifying his position in the playoff race. His ace in the hole seems to be Hopkins, who's thriving off the amazing play of Deshaun Watson. I can't believe how good that guy's doing, but kudos to him. In 6th place, we have Josh, White Josh, at 5-3. Despite the win, he loses Zeke again. If he gets him back, then him and Fred might jostle for that 5th spot. Actually, Reggie, Fred, and Josh are all right there. So I think Reggie and Josh would be duking it out, because even though Reggie might have a stronger team, he doesn't have someone on his team that's playing the way Zeke Elliott is. But Josh keeps on winning, so I have to respect that. But the loss of Zeke right now, really, it's hard to rank him higher than this, especially above Fred and Reggie. But it does make it easy to rank him ahead of me, Manny, in the 7th spot with 3 and 5. There's another 3 and 5 team, Corey, and you might say like, hey, how come I'm not ahead of you? Because I have scored 955 fucking points. The next closest was Jordan with 874. It's very frustrating to see that I'm scoring that many points. I had another 100-point game this week. It's just having the worst matchups. Every week I play someone that decides to, hey, let's have our best game of the week, or best game of the season. So, fuck you guys. Fuck DeAndre Hopkins and his 72-yard touchdown. Fuck Harrison Butker and his amazing leg kicking that football against the Broncos. I hate all of you. I hope that all your star players get turf toe, so it's one of those nagging injuries that don't really hurt them, but they just start performing less and less, and then you guys go like, why did Manny do that to us? I'm sorry, guys. It's been a long, frustrating season. I'm not doing so well. Let's move on to the 8th team, so I can get my mind off my team. We have Corey at 3 and 5. He had a nice win. Season isn't over for him. He has a game next week against Josh. It's going to be an important one. Corey's finding ways to win, just like Josh is, but Josh is losing a big part of his team. I think he still has the talent to win over Corey, but you never know. Corey had a decent game this week over Reg, so and fuck, TJ beat Josh, so who knows? Who knows? In 9th place we have Trey. And as I said earlier, Trey's taking the rest of the year off, so I'll refrain from doing any real analysis on his team. Unless he beats one of you losers, then probably just gonna talk shit about you guys, cause yeah, you guys suck. In 10th place we have Frank. I said it before, and I'll say it again. It's time for him to plan for next year, but I don't know how he goes about that. I'd probably keep Hilton as my franchise player because he'll be valuable when Luck comes back, or if he does get traded. Who knows? He is one of the top 10 receivers, talent wise, but he just needs a real quarterback. Jacoby Beef Brisket isn't doing it. It's not enough. I'd probably maybe move Kelvin Benjamin or Matt Ryan to someone who's competing this year for better 3-pool asset, or maybe for a draft pick, something that will help him in the future, because I really wouldn't want those guys in my 3-pool. There's a few guys. Maybe Corey wants a wide receiver and give you a pick or something, or maybe White Josh will do something like that, or Fred. I don't know. Frank, think of something, man. I believe in you. Angel, you added a win to your total, but the best thing about this week for you is you're not the bottom of the barrel. You are what, 2-6? Is that what you are right now? You are 2-6. Frank is 1-7. I messed up. You're number 10. Frank's number 11. Frank, you suck, dude. I'm sorry, Angel. I'm just so used to being a power bottom. I mean, on the bottom, But now we have a new person at the bottom, and that honor has been saved for Josh Del Mundo. You lose twice this week, bro, to TJ and me. You just got fucking airtight Eiffel Towered. I expect my money soon, Josh. And if you try to fucking talk shit to me again, I will make sure you stay as the power bottom of this team in the power rank of this league in the power rankings. I am the commish. I have the power, mister. I have the power. And as usual, that is it, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. I know I've been talking a lot, talking fast. Still around 30 minutes. The power rankings take a little bit longer in the podcast. Not really sure how I can cut it down a little bit. Maybe if I stop with the fucking pauses and the uhs. But it's how I talk. This is how it is, guys. Alright, enjoy. Good luck this week. I hope you guys have a happy and safe Halloween, especially for you guys that have kids that actually listen to this podcast, which I think is maybe Jordan and Corey. The rest of you guys are little homos with no kids. That, I don't know. I didn't mean that. It's Halloween. I should be happy for you guys. Go put on some makeup, you queers, and go ask other people for candy. I will see you guys later. As usual, any questions, comments, or concerns, hit your boy up. Good luck. Commish out.